Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Learning English While Sleeping. I'm your host, Katherine. It's a pleasure to accompany you before we drift into beautiful dreams. Have you ever thought about traveling abroad? Are you afraid of challenges abroad? Today, we will join the podcast Living Abroad, where we talk about all the different parts of living in a foreign country and answer your questions. This podcast will help students and professionals who are planning to move abroad. Tonight, I'm so happy to be joined by our special guest, Mrs. Anitta, a study abroad consultant for students and those who intend to work abroad. She has many years of experience. Welcome, Mrs. Anitta. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Katherine. It's such a pleasure to be here today. I'm really excited to talk about this topic with you tonight.
Can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Anitta, and I've been living abroad for the past 8 years. I first moved to study and then decided to stay for work. I've lived in Germany, Japan, and Australia. Each place has been unique, and I'm excited to share my experiences and tips with you today.
Wonderful. Now, prepare a comfortable place and get ready to hear some interesting stories. So, I won't keep you waiting. Let's get started. Let's start from the beginning. Why did you decide to study abroad?
Studying abroad was a dream of mine for a long time. It gives so many benefits that I couldn't resist. First, it gives you the chance to experience a new culture. It's more than just visiting a place. It's about really understanding how people live and their traditions.
Living in a different culture sounds exciting. What other reasons made you want to study abroad?
Making friends from around the world was also a big reason. It opens your world to new ideas and helps you build connections that could be useful in the future.
That sounds amazing. It seems like there are so many good things about living abroad. But many people are afraid of living abroad for different reasons. So, how can they reduce their worries?
There are a few important things to think about. Start by learning about the country's culture, language, and daily life. This will help you feel more ready and reduce culture shock. Also, check the cost of living, like rent, food, and transportation, so you can plan your money well and avoid stress about it.
Researching sounds like a good start. What else is important?
Check the visa rules, which can be different and may take time to get. Also, learn about the healthcare system in the new country. Know how it works, what kind of insurance you'll need, and where to go for medical help.
Adapting to a new culture can be hard. What tips do you have for that?
Adapting can be hard, but worth it. First, be open-minded and ready to learn. Cultures are different, so be curious instead of judging them.
That's a good way to think. How else can someone adapt?
Join local events and traditions. Taking part in festivals, holidays, and local activities is a great way to experience the culture and meet new people. Don't stay alone. Stepping out of your comfort zone is important to adapt.
That's such helpful advice. I remember when I first moved abroad, one of the best things I did was join a local cooking class. It was a fun way to learn about the local food and meet people. It's all about making an effort to be part of the culture and community.
Yes, Katherine. Often, small actions matter the most. Learning to say please and thank you in the local language, or knowing the proper way to greet someone can make a big difference in how people see you and connect with you.
I see. But language barriers can be tough. How did you handle that?
Language barriers are one of the biggest challenges abroad, but they can be overcome with effort. Before learning, I learned basic phrases, greetings, and simple words to handle daily situations like shopping and asking for directions. This showed people I was trying. After arriving, I took language classes to improve and meet other locals. Practicing with native speakers was really important. I talked with them even if I made mistakes, and people were usually patient and kind. The key is to keep trying and not give up. Over time, your confidence and skills will get better. What I said above sounds easy, but it takes time and effort.
That's great, Anitta. It's all about trying and putting in the effort. It's part of learning, and people usually appreciate your efforts to speak their language. Before officially moving on to the next part, let me help you understand the difference between mindset and perspective. I think many of you may be a bit confused when learning them. Mindset. This is how someone usually thinks and believes about things, and it affects how they deal with situations. For example, her growth mindset helps her believe that effort and learning can make her better over time. Perspective. This is how someone sees things from their point of view based on their experiences and beliefs. Here's an example. From a global perspective, climate change affects different areas in different ways. In short, mindset is about how you think inside, while perspective is about how you see or understand things outside. Is it clear? Now we will continue exploring this topic. We will go deeper into tips for living abroad. Mrs. Anitta, finding a place to live is really important. It can make a big difference in your experience abroad. Any tips for the first step?
Start looking for a place early. Popular cities and student areas get booked fast, so you'll have better options if you start sooner.
What types of housing should people think about?
Explore different options. Think about places like apartments, shared housing, or dorms if you're a student. Each has its good and bad points. For example, shared housing can be cheaper and a way to make friends, while an apartment might give you more privacy.
Is it important to see the place before signing?
Try to visit the place in person before signing the lease. If you can't, ask for a virtual tour. Check the condition of the place and the neighborhood. Look for groups related to your interests or hobbies, like sports teams, book clubs, or volunteer groups, especially international student or workers groups. These are great places to meet people with similar interests.
I see. Financial planning is also important. Any advice on that?
Yes, good financial planning can prevent a lot of stress. Start by creating a budget. Make a detailed budget that covers all your expenses, like rent, food, transportation, and entertainment. This helps you understand how much you spend and where you can save. Also, learn about the local banking system. Consider opening a local bank account to save on fees and make managing your money easier. Compare banks to find the best option for you.
Now check out some vocabulary. We will start with a noun first, accommodation. It means a place where someone lives or stays for a short time. Finding the right accommodation before moving abroad is important to have a smooth start. And here is the word book. It's the action of arranging for a seat on a plane, a room in a hotel, or a place to stay. You should book your accommodation early to get the best options and prices. Then we have dorm. A dorm is a building or part of a building where students live and sleep. Living in a dorm is a great way to meet other students and make friends quickly when studying abroad. How about lease? A lease is a legal agreement to pay money to use something for a certain time. Make sure you carefully read the lease agreement before signing it. Please remember this adjective, virtual. It means something made by computer technology that looks real. If you can't see the place in person, ask for a virtual tour to understand the accommodation better. What about the noun property? This noun means a building or piece of land owned by someone. Before renting a property, check the neighborhood and services to make sure it meets your needs. Next, let's learn association. An association is a group of people working together for a common purpose. Joining local associations can give you useful opportunities when living abroad. Let's look at financial. This adjective is about money or how it's managed. Good financial planning helps save money while living abroad. The next word is expense. It means the cost of something. Keep track of your expenses to stay within your budget when living in another country. Here is the last word, transaction. It's when someone buys or sells something. Be aware of transaction fees when sending money between international bank accounts. Now, please answer a few small questions to practice your listening comprehension as well as your vocabulary. Are you ready? What should you research before moving to another country, according to Anitta? The country's culture, language, cost of living, visa rules, healthcare, and legal details. If you can cover most of these points, you are very focused on the podcast content. Let's try another one. What strategies did Anitta recommend for finding accommodation? Anitta suggested starting to look for a place early. She also recommended checking different housing options, understanding the lease terms, and visiting the place if possible. We just talked about things to note when living abroad. So now we move on to the interesting things about it. Let's talk about working overseas. What are the opportunities and challenges, Mrs. Anitta?
Working abroad offers many opportunities, like teaching English or working for international companies. The main challenge is often getting a work visa. It's important to research the job market and legal rules before applying. Networking is important because many jobs are found through personal connections. Also, living abroad gives you more chances to travel and explore nearby areas. Use your weekends and holidays to visit new places. This is a great way to see more of the world and learn about different cultures.
That sounds great when living abroad, but living abroad makes many people feel homesick. How do you deal with missing home?
I feel homesick when living abroad. To manage it, I stay connected through video calls and social media with my family and friends. For me, building a local support network by joining community activities and making new friends is important. When I'm busy, I feel less homesick because I have many things to focus on. Cooking familiar meals also helps me feel at home in a new country. I know it's hard to find the same ingredients abroad as we do home, so you can find other ingredients to use. Cooking like this will help you feel less homesick.
Please join me in learning the last 10 vocabulary words. You can do it. The first one is opportunity. It's a chance for progress or achievement. Studying abroad gives students the opportunity to experience different cultures. Variety is the next word we have to learn. This word means many different types of things or people. The markets offer a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, take a look at requirement. The meaning of this noun is something that is needed or necessary. A passport is a requirement for traveling to another country. What about personal? It relates to or is about a person. Personal experiences abroad can help you grow as an individual. Then we have the word homesick. It means feeling sad because you are away from home. After moving to a new country, we may feel homesick and miss our families. What about this noun, network? It means a group of people who you know and who can help you. Building a professional network is important for finding job opportunities abroad. Maybe you know the meaning of this word. That is, participate. Yeah, it means to take part in something. Students are encouraged to participate in local cultural activities to learn about their new environment. We have come to the end of this episode. Before officially ending this episode, Mrs. Anitta, do you want to give some general advice to our listeners who are planning to live abroad?
I just want to say, don't be afraid. Things will be different, and that's part of the adventure. Build a strong support network, and don't be afraid to seek help when needed. Enjoy the journey and make the most of every opportunity. Remember, living abroad is a unique experience that can teach you a lot about yourself and the world.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Anitta, for sharing useful information and experiences with us. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Katherine. It was great to share my experiences. I hope our listeners find it helpful.
I'm sure they will. And that wraps up our discussion on living abroad. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode. Hope you can find motivation to live abroad after listening to this podcast. Although it has many challenges, I believe you can do it. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to reach out. Remember to stay tuned for more engaging episodes on Podcast Sleep. Until next time, take care and keep exploring the wonderful world of music and culture. Good night. Sleep tight.